being taken out a little bit early, they're still on top, tied with E1 Sports, who moved up. The same goes with Fluxo. So Fluxo, they were in 75. 7 if I'm not mistaken, and then they catapulted themselves on there because of the position that they've taken. But unfortunately, they couldn't survive any longer than they are intending to. But Real United still on top 4, so there's still hope for the team coming from the East right now, but it seems like the top board would be dominated by mostly, the top 3 would be mostly by the West. But going into the team stats of GOW, one of the team that has brought in Nero in this game, and I didn't see that much of the Nero, especially in the final moment where they could use that skill to take down the final one of the player in there. But I'm seeing so much hope in using that skill right now, especially for those who are just hiding out in the corners.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think we haven't seen the best use of Nero just yet, but I really like the lineup of active skills here. You've got the Steffi, Oscar, Coda, Nero combo. Even Coda, you don't really see that used too often by quite a number of these squads, but GOW understands where their strength is, and with the extra bit of information on their side, usually they are able to survive a little bit longer. Even if you look at their passive skills, look at the stack of Shani as well as Olivia coming on through here. They're really focusing on the defense, really focusing on the recovery as well, focusing on bringing in Susie, extra coins, just to recover, just to revive their players when things do go south. And I think all of those elements came in perfect for GOW to score the victory this time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a total of 14 elimination, and most of it's coming from Hans and RIP. And, well, even the damage is almost even for everyone. Everyone has put in their hands into getting this booyah. I'm loving this version of GOW, but hopefully it continues because it might be map specific. Going into Bermuda, everyone's familiar with it, but GOW has stick to their plans to survive compared to the others who focus on other maps as well. But let's see though on what the MVP has in store for us in terms of weapon. It is an M590, and what a better use of this gun, especially if you have a little bit of strength plus the healing factor of Olivia, and you can put the Steffi in just to get away from all those throwables.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really like the fact that he actually has the Rocky in here as well. Reduced cooldown for the active skills, and I think this is perfect because Steffi is integral for this particular meta. You need to block out all of those lethals. There are a lot of the M79s out there, a lot of those frag grenades that you have to deal with in the final circle. So this is a very smart approach coming through from Hans. Very rare, and I think GOW has really thought this out very well because the meta is not necessarily the best for your squad based on your playstyle. And I think GOW is one of those squads who have really experimented and understood that, and they're playing this to their advantage. And I really like the fact that they have recovered with this one game alone. But I have to say, we did take a peek at the overall standings earlier, and it's insane, Neptune. We have the first 2 teams on 50 points, the third and fourth team in 48 points, but that's not the impressive part just yet.
Yeah.
The team in the 8th spot is Movistar R7, and they have 42 points. Movistar R7 from nowhere, they can jump up to that number 1 spot in this next game if they just don't drop the ball. 8 teams could get that number 1 spot if they just try hard in this next game.
Yeah, I mean, with all the back and forth, everyone is so close to each other that someone else out of that list would be able to move up. But looking at a circle analysis right now, seeing how GOW just took the edge and making sure that they have a great cover as well. Even in the final circle, we're going to see that on the highlights in a bit, wherein they took advantage of their position, not move carelessly against Fluxo, and that's where they managed to push Fluxo to be taken out, to be dealt with by R7, and then they just dealt with the finishing blow. And GOW, I mean, they like circle 4 is where they really pop off with 6 elimination, and then everything follows through. And you can see the gap in circle 2 and 3. Not so much of engagement. That is the slowdown for everyone in this game.
Yeah, man. I mean, so again, to put it into context, AG Global is at the top of the leaderboard, followed by E1. But Fluxo, Buriram, Falcons, Heavy, Team Solid, Movistar R7 are all in contention at the same time for the number one spot. This is what we mean by this is the most balanced that we have ever seen the game state as well as the professional players out there and the squads. We have never seen a global finals that is this close in the past. I am mind blown right now, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. And well, hopefully they will be able to, with this performance, they will be able to ease the pressure, because from earlier I've seen the room of pressure. There's a lot of things that they need to think about going into this battle, going into this match, and this is something that are like game style and mechanical skills like can be done with practice, but mentality like pressure being done by the Lada team, it's very difficult to deal with. So hopefully that's something that we can hear as well on how the team is going to deal with those pressure. But before we go in, let's bring it to Conchita Caroline to enter for the interview on the room of pressure.
Survivors, you are now live with me from the room of pressure. I'm here to give you a quick update from the 4 matches that we've seen today on the first day of the knockout stage from the Free Fire World Series Global Finals 2025. As we all can see, Brazil is for sure the region to watch. Fluxo and Team Solid has claimed the first 2 booyahs. Sure, E1 has not secured a booyah, but they for sure have been hovering around the top 5 as well. And one thing is that the 3 Brazilian teams are adapting very well to the hyper early aggression meta. Here in the room of pressure, we can see some of the comments that the community has written to us about the team that are competing today. And what surprises me is that a lot of people from the community has been saying that Fluxo might crumble. Fluxo might do the same mistake that they've been doing in EWC, and they will not be proving their worth today. So now I'm asking you, survivors, what do you think? Can they push to be team of the day? Write your comments in the comment section below. But for now, let's go and see the highlights.
Well, I don't know if or not Fluxo is going to be able to prove that they're the team of the day, but the chat will definitely argue who's the host of the day. They are all absolutely in love with both of our hosts, and picking one of the two is definitely going to be a really tough choice. But of course, taking a look at the highlights here once again, GOW just pulled off a massive W on this matchup with the rotations, with the capability, even shutting down Team Heavy, being integral in the takedown of Team Redhawks as well. Decision making for this final battle especially, I am very impressed with what Vietnam has been able to do with their squads.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the slowdown that they've done, instead of pushing straight to Fluxo, they slowed down their approach. They didn't double think. They didn't doubt it. They just understand that if they push a little bit early without a zone moving in, they will be caught off guard. And that's what they played with. Fluxo was just jump into the open, into R7's away, and that's where they dealt with each other. And GOW was just chilling like a villain until that booyah. So I'm really impressed on what the GOW has done right here. Yeah. But in terms of points, it's a little bit delayed in gathering all those points. But the booyah definitely will help.
Yeah, better late than never, right? As long as GOW manages to do something out there to climb up the leaderboard, I am going to be more than happy. But you know, even if I say that down to the 8th spot, they can still contend for the number 1 spot, right? Movistar R7 is currently, as you can see on your screen, as well as the team that's in the 8th spot. Right below them is GOW. They have 37 points in hand. If they do well back-to-back in these next 2 games, they can be in the top 3. It is such a close leaderboard on this day 1 opener.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 37 to 50, what AG and E1 has taken is only 13 points. Well, given the fact that both of the teams doesn't get any points, then they will be doing that easily. But I do agree. Everyone from the top from the top up until the 9th or 8th as well, even the 10th place, might be able to move up to the top 5 even after the next map, which is the next era. So it's just mind-blowing. I was expecting a slow game and only a few teams who's dominating, especially with the entry that Fluxo has showed us right now, but it was just everyone's battle. First Fluxo, Team Solid, Team Falcons, and then GOW, and expect that some other team will be grabbing game number 5.
The most important thing is it's a battle between the East and the West. The West initially showing that they are here to dominate, and then the East came out the doors and said, calm down, buddy. We are here as well. Falcons and GOW making sure they represent the East overall, but it's not going to be easy because Brazil is making so much of noise out there, especially with 2 squads, E1 Sports and Fluxo. Yes, Team Solid did manage to score a booyah, but I feel like the consistency-wise, E1 and Fluxo have just been a little bit on the upper side, right? Yes, Fluxo did kind of falter in 2 games, but when they do strike, they do claim a lot of points out there to climb the leaderboard. So overall, it's balanced their performance as well as their position on the leaderboard. In fact, even if they messed up 2 of their games, they are still in the 3rd spot, which is a testament to how good Fluxo is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they know how to come back. They know how to recover when needed. And that's just the champion spirit that we have right here. You can see they're still calm. No pressure at all, despite of the 2 games that they lost. So the confidence is there. The gameplay, the practice, the mental fortitude is there from the champions. The only question is who will take it away or who can beat them in those 3 aspects.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge for sure. And now, as we take a look at it, Wasana's crying, man. Wasana's like, let me get the booyah already. Yeah, you guys better get the booyah, Buriram. I put you on my list, man. They better be in the top 3 by the end of this. Very specifically, I want them to be in the 2nd place because how nice it'll be where you predict the top 3 in sequence of 1 to 3, and then it ends up just like that. Of course, it's very difficult in this lobby, once again, because of how good and how close these squads are to each other in capability, in style, as well as execution. But, you know, sometimes people do get lucky with their predictions. And a quick fun fact here, many players, including R7 Della, Nejat from Red Hawks, as well as Cypher from AG Global, named Pina as the most underrated player at FFWS 2020. And I cannot agree more. Pina is a monster and his clutch gameplay is unbelieving. One of the good reasons why Falcons are your dual champions out of Southeast Asia.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once he get that N590 or ACI 80 in hand, he will make all those shots count. And it might not be an elimination, but at least the damage would help. And that is with the battle today. But I'm really loving that it's only not Pina who's making way in the Team Falcon side. Even the rest of the teams, Kiroro's already taken the spotlight. And probably that's one reason why Pina has been titled as the underrated, because he helps so much on Kiroro's way to be the champions from Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what you need. Players in your squad that are capable of dominance and just carrying the squad all alone, although it's a team play overall, because, you know, sticky situations are always just around the corner. But speaking of around the corner, right up next, we've got Nextera. Yes, Mr. Wagger, cute as hell as he runs towards you. Let's kick off game number 5, baby. Give me some hot drops.
Let's see on where the hot drop will be, and if everyone is targeting Buriram United, they might be dropping in Museum, because unless Buriram United thinks otherwise, because I know for a fact that certain teams have put a crosshair behind on the backs of Buriram United, and even from earlier, we've seen them move away from their usual hot drops, especially if Team Falcon or Team Fluxo rather is involved in this play. But so far, in the early parts, in the first half of the drop, no one is dropping in against each other unless we see PE Sports deal with Red Hawks in mud side, that
Oh
would
my.
be carnage. And hopefully, Red Hawks plan an approach to get away quickly.
Yeah, a quick shout out to our production team because I dare say this is one of the best produced Free Fire World Series competitions I have ever been a part of. I mean, look at how clean the action has been so far. And a shout out to the observers as well. No idea who is on the observers lineup, but they are doing one heck of a job capturing all of these heated battles that I do want to see out there in the game. Demon, Dian, GOW circling around. They have to be really careful because the curse of getting a booyah and then getting knocked right out in the following game has been plaguing Vietnam for a long, long time, and it's also been plaguing us here on day one of the global finals. They just have to be a little careful.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, though, if that is the same thing for AG, because they are dealing with R7. Axe, though, almost being taken down with double vector coming from Cypher would make that make that blow worth it. Now, let's see if AG Global can get in position, because it seems like Barros would be dealing the same way and paying for what R7 has received from AG.
Yeah, Games King with the distraction and the pressure, allowing Joker to get the elimination onto Barros. Great flush out there for the side of Movistar R7. So it's a 1-for-1 trade thus far. The attack gets brought right back in. AG Global has to be careful though, because R7, UAV moving straight towards AG Global. They haven't shot it out of the skies just yet, so information gameplay on the side of R7. Team SR gets tagged up. They've got them circled in, but the approach is going to be very dangerous because there's a lot of distance between AG and R7, but that can be sorted out by the Champat. Joker now on the roof. Cypher, Riptide with him breaking down his defenses with a double glue wall protection by Cypher as he shuts down Games King, who flanks him from the back. Cypher still has it onto him, but the Bison will be not on his side. Cypher with the headshot off the vector. Unbelievable play.
Yeah, let's see though. Cypher with a sliver of health and will need to be Uzi, but unfortunately Joker breaks him down. But I love how the approach of Movistar R7.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, they are in boxing gym and they boxed out a couple of AG Global. If it wasn't for Cypher's double elimination, double knockdown, that could have been the end for AG Global. Unfortunately, Barros already down. Only one remaining for AG Global. Hopefully they find their way.
Okay, now it's Team Solid up against Red Hawks. Kutush with Revival. Trap takes played out of the equation. As we spot out a little bit of engagement here. PE Sports in the vicinity as well. Will steal that point at the expense of Team Red Hawks. Nejat says, no problem, brother. I have got a ton of coins in my pocket. In fact, it's too heavy. Please use them. Get eliminated quickly. Nejat backing away. Team Solid on the rush. Looking for yet another two players surviving on the side of Red Hawks here. But they have to focus on those revivals or else it's going to be over before they know it. Written down on the ground. The pickup is easy. Team Heavy getting cooked by Ivan Sports.
Yeah, I think there's only one more player remaining for Team Heavy. Mufasa brings the Don't Cry back that easily. But E1 Sports right now, good start for the team, maintaining their reign as a number 2 or equalize with the number 1. But if they continue this on, if they keep a little bit of a switch up in the passive and aggressive, they might be taking this booyah all throughout. But for Team Fluxo, well, the slowdown hopefully is done. The hiatus should have been done and they can move up, take their reign in the number 1 spot because they're getting very close.
No doubt at all. I think Fluxo is looking for exactly that, the number 1 spot finisher by the end of the day. I didn't put them in my top 3 predictions, so I'm feeling a little bad now. But it's okay. It happens, right? I have Red Hawks in my top 3 prediction. Take that. Come on, Red Hawks. Show me something, man. Give me a booyah.
Oh, let's see though. Let's see. I mean, it's tough, especially with how they're treating it. But I'm seeing a little bit of improvement game after game, and that's what they need. And I remember a comment as well in the global, in the YouTube of Free Fire Global, wherein give them a couple of years and they might be able to show up the same. I'm thinking that it might be less if they continue to improve themselves, and this is a good way for them to improve themselves. Like, learn from their mistakes, emulate what the other regions are doing, especially the champion regions are doing, and work on their tactics quite well. A lot of homework is needed, especially with the years of experience that has been done from both those coming in from Thailand as well as Brazil or other regions from East and West, and that is what Red Hawks need to do.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt at all. Again, they are very new. They are babies in the global stage. So it's going to take some time for them to really wake up in the competition. I mean, Vietnam took many, many years before they turned out to be dominators of these lobbies, right? So, yeah, we're going to cut them some slack for sure. I can't wait for one day India to join the fray as well. Oh, can you imagine, man? That would be explosive. But of course, speaking of explosive, nades back and forth between E1 Sports and Buriram. Frags tossed up to the top. No blue wall melters just yet, as Buriram does not have any intention of rushing into the compound of E1 Sports. But as I say that, it looks like the Mad Squad is going to do exactly that. Jonah, what a nade. Pow 7 down on the ground. Vitin hops on out. Jonah's going to meet him halfway. Nobody's making the shots up against him just yet. Moshi with the connection down at the bottom. Pulls out the blue ball in the nick of time. And Jonah gets taken out of the equation because of Vitin. He has the grenade launcher. Turn around. And Buriram, I did not expect them to make that mistake.
Yeah, it seems like also R7 is joining the party. E1 Sports need to be picked up that easily. Joker right now with Ridside Rhythm and E1 Sports back on their feet. Recovery though needs to be fast, otherwise R7 might bring them down. But I think the deed is done. The only question is, will Buriram United be able to get back up? But speaking of getting back up, Team Falcons needs to get back up because WAG is doing a number on them.
Hey, come on, man. I mean, what was that move by Buriram? I am still in disbelief. And by some grace, they are still alive and kicking. I was going to say still alive and kicking, but they're still alive and cooking. Get high. Just got a double elimination off of R7. The ones that brought the interference into the battle between E1 and Buriram, kind of saving Buriram for a second there. But the problem here is there's no vending machines around him. There's a revival platform. If he chooses to use the revival platform, E1 is just going to run at him. Buriram just made a big boo-boo, and I am not happy, man. I've got them on my top 3.
Let's see though. Let's see. I mean, Buriram United is not their usual way. Most of the time, they're passive in the beginning, and then that's slowly build their way on a 10-minute mark. But this time, I think they plan to change this because of how aggressive some of the teams are showing up. And let's see if this is something that they can stack up. Probably not in next era if they get eliminated. Probably the next map will do. But all hopes for them. The final survivor can bring them back up.
Yeah, no doubt. Ooh, narrow, stepping up. And Dian said, hello, Max 7 is here. Nolan, the sliver of health left. GOW taking the fight up straight to them. First elimination, not enough just yet. Hans looking for one. Running around with the Bison. Nolan from outside, trying to find a couple of connections. Is going to be denied. LBT on the roof. And at this point, PE Esports is just trying to avoid GOW at all costs. All thanks to the flame zone. Maybe they get a chance to run away, or maybe they get hit down.
Hell, it's GOW saved a little bit, and with all that noise, it could have pulled in E1 Sports, but unfortunate for them, or for Buriram United, he moved with the rest of E1, thus being eliminated early. So the first team to be taken out is Buriram United. Now, let's see who will be winning the next battle. PE Sports with only 2 players on our view, and let's see if they can bring back the rest of the teams. Another team that needs recovery would be Red Hawks. Only 1 remaining, Flicker. But if the pickup can be done, then that would be the best for them.
Don't you do this to me, Red Hawks. Come on. Oh, are they going to get out of here, Alan? It's the connection with the AC-80 Flicker. Flickers out. Nejad could not play the game of revival. They were just standing over the vending machine, but could not get close enough to it. And Red Hawks will crash and burn again, unfortunately.
A lot more of experience is needed with the Red Hawks. And, well, let's see if that will happen on to the next game. For Nick, though. Nix, he will need to be silent. He has view and information on WAG, but the rest of the teams is still a little bit too far. Portal Go available, not only one, but two of them. And it's rare, it's a rare occasion that we are seeing that a little bit of a heavy investment coming from the team. But going into the other side, we have two teams from the west right now going in for the fight. Putusin almost swatting one out and taking them down.
Pow sends one straight to Bobs. Down on the ground, picked right back up. Joker went in for the finisher, but couldn't get to him in the nick of time. And now Bobs and Butch is in quickly rotating around. Very, very smart recovery coming through from the Fluxo players. And they don't put themselves in trouble as they do, kind of gearing up for a backup as well, as they stood around that house, close to the windows, waiting for a all-out battle. But thankfully, nothing happens, and R7 allows them to move away. Falcons rotating right behind WAG. This is going to get a little nasty shortly as Team Solid watches this situation.
Yeah, well, it would be another team to watch out for, which because Team Falcons is already in their mids, a little bit of FGL action being thrown into Nix right now, coming from Kiroro, and well, this is what we often see. In Zipway. The towers right here is a good vantage point, but unfortunately for them, the blue will be pulling away from them. So launchpad will be used. They just reposition one tower, and they still have that high ground advantage. Hopefully Limit X7 will be able to go for a takedown. Otherwise, they might be in the crosshairs of a lot of teams, especially with the elevation that they have right now with their heads exposed.
Yeah, Team Solid now dropping down to the lower ground, taking the fight straight up to WAG. Now they have to be really careful because Falcons are in shooting distance here. One wrong move, Falcons will not think twice to hop on into the battle as the third party. GOW though, up against PE Sports, a little civil war between the Vietnamese squads. As GOW wins out the initial bout, but AG Global from afar, Team SR taking aim at them. Sneaking away a point here as well. GOW outside the zone needs to play some sort of recovery, and those revives are crucial here. But it looks like AG is going to make this really tough for them.
Yeah, there's no breathing space for GOW right now because AG Global has them on their crosshairs. And it's a good focus right now for AG Global. They are the top eliminators in this lobby, and they're not really focusing on what's happening in Zipway. But Team Solid getting headway against the rest of the teams like WAG and Team Falcons, and they might be going in for the gatekeep. But let's not take R7 away from the picture because they are the ones waiting for the opportunity for the takedown as well. Team Falcons still alive, Guerrero on the ground, and will be taken out by T. Kui on fire in a 1v2. Will he survive? It would be tough. It's a 1v3, and on fire will be down.
But that was some fantastic, fancy footwork out of On Fire in combination with the time turner. Unfortunate that he was outnumbered. And in fact, the third player was the difference maker there. Limit with a massive triple revival. And we were talking about how he rocks that Susie as the sniper of the squad, connecting those extra coins. And now Pina does get taken out from the skies. On Fire as well. Those revivals in a lobby like this, in a circle this small, is just absolutely deadly. Falcons are being shot out of the air.
Oh, let's see now if Falcons can still fly. Only one team or one player remaining at this point. Judo is struggling to survive, healing up, and Kororo is on his way, but did have a full HP right now. For Team Solid, they are dealing with Team Fluxo, and both of these teams not out just yet. TS might be able to survive, putting in the Steffi, and they are just being taken by that zone. The HP would be crucial, and BSB will be down.
Yeah, man, I mean, unfortunate. Bob's, oh, goodness me. Usually you should fish in a barrel as they're inside the compound. This one was the opposite. They were in the compound, shot out through the window, finding those connections, and Fluxo is the winner of that battle. Going into this next circle, full squad. In fact, final circle time. Zone is about to move in favor of the Vietnamese squad, but look at the problem here. Vietnam is on all the way to this high ground, and their only opportunity to reposition will be that monster truck. so as to not take any damage.
Let's see though. A1 Sport, at least they are protected by this huge compound, but they will be in the target of Team Fluxo as they reposition and heavy right now. Well, they're not too heavy because of the monster trucks saving their way, but let's see if they can survive the onslaught coming from the other side of the map.
Yep, and now E1 Sports taking aim at Team Heavy. Kabi finds the connection of bullets to his back, but a instant recovery coming on through as well. Inhale is used as they rotate around towards Fluxo, and this is out of the pan straight into the fire for the Vietnamese squad of Heavy. Allen takes the initial shots first, but manages to return fire to Butches in, who backs away. Circle's now going to put pressure on them. The glue UAV thrown out here by Team Heavy, but Fluxo's not even going to be shooting at their defenses. Heavy needs to focus on staying alive, and this is going to give them the advantage as Fluxo now focuses on E1 Sports and Heavy attacks from the back.
Oh, let's see. We have E1 Sports already very close to Team Fluxo. If they can deal with each other, that would open up the floodgates for Heavy. But it seems like Heavy has shown up a little bit too early right now. Lion would be going in. Both of them pulling out a time turner and saving both of the squad.
And E1 once again distracted by Fluxo. Butches pulls the distraction, pulls the attention, and E1 Sports takes the high ground, allowing Heavy to recover, allowing Heavy to find a better position, and now E1 Sports will have to jump off of this platform, and that might just give the advantage to the Eastern squad. Team Heavy, they've got the jump pad, they quickly reposition. But E1, can they make the best use of their high ground here as Heavy, like trolls under a bridge, refuse to move?
This reminds me of one of the final battle in Southeast Asia where Onyx Olympus was just at the bottom of AG Global. E1 Sports is on the top. If there will be a closing up the circle, all they have to do is wait, unless Heavy have something on their sleeves right now to throw off A1 Sports away or like below them, and they will just be an easy target. But there's also a way up right now if in case Heavy chooses to do so, and Fidin makes the mistake. Allen take advantage.
Mufasa very quickly laying down the trip mine here. Glue wall melters laid out around Witten to make sure nobody else drops in for the save. Witten about to expire. The rest of the E1 Sports players not taking any moves towards saving him. Allen gets to confirm that elimination. Circle's going to be closing in, and E1 Sports just put themselves into hot soup by taking the position on that high ground. Circle's going to be pressuring them to move on off, and on that drop, that will give Heavy a massive advantage. Inhalers and medkits used by E1 Sports, but it's a matter of time before they hop on off of this bridge.
Yeah, E1 Sports, wrong position to take. They don't have the center, and Heavy would be taking advantage of this unless they think Cook would be taken by Heavy. Oh, time turner to save them. And this is it. Heavy.
GG.
Heavy. GG indeed. Having the Booyah in there where E1 cannot do anything at all.
Yeah, bye-bye Vitin, Team Heavy says. And Heavy is in shooting distance for the #1 spot. And the East is in shooting distance from overtaking the West in the number of Booyahs they have. Heavy carrying the East ahead.
And there's a reason as well why Heavy is on our crosshairs of being a team that can turn things around. Heavy for a Booyah. You did mention that East has most of the Booyah already after 5 matches. Let's see though if the West can take it back, because it was very close for E1. If they have taken that, then it would have been the West leading the fray in terms of Booyah.
And this is what I respect about Vietnam. It's not about just getting into the international stage the first time and then dominating, because that's so difficult. And this nation has struggled for so long in the world of Free Fire. And this is their year. For the first time ever, they squeeze in 4 teams to the global finals. And it's not about just a game of numbers. Just because you've got 4 squads from your region doesn't mean you're going to be able to do well. You can still all be bottom feeders. As a matter of fact, 60% of the squads during the interviews on our media day, thought that Vietnam was going to be bottom feeders.
Oh.
Well, Heavy doesn't think so.
Heavy is really flipping the script against those teams or all those players. We're expecting them to bomb out. But, Heavy right now, quick decision. At least Heavy stayed in there with a better cover. E1 scored. I was expecting them to move down a little bit faster, but didn't. 9 was just without backup. He is just leading in there with stairs available. If he had a little bit of, say, the full squad or backup or any glue walls to cover, he could have not been taken down. There's still a fighting chance for E1.
Yeah, I'm surprised that E1 made that mistake because, this is not Kalahari. You can't just use your hook gun, get off of that top spot. You maybe could have used a monster truck, but in two squads in that final circle, even a monster truck can put you in a little bit of a pickle as you take that drop. But some magic could have still happened with a monster truck from the bridge, taking the landing. A quick glue wall or a time turner could have saved the day. Clearly, E1 either had no resources to play with or they just did not have that strategy in their backpack to pull out when it was truly needed. They almost made the right decision. They got off of the bridge and then they got distracted by Fluxo. They still had one more survivor, and in order to win this one battle against this one survivor, I think it was Butches in at the top, they sent all 3 players back up onto the top of the bridge. And that was the moment where they lost it to Heavy, right? And obviously Heavy very happy to pull that booyah away and finally bringing the East to the front. 24 points, 12 out of eliminations, 12 out of placements. Heavy manages to score decently well. AG Global will still be able to put up a good fight to maintain their number 1 spot. And remember, there were 2 points difference between Fluxo as well as E1, but E1 was on the exact same number of points of AG Global, so they would have officially overtaken them through this game number 5.
Yeah, I mean, E1 would be taking that number 1 spot, and despite of Heavy grabbing the booyah right here, it's just so much that you can do, especially if the top of the leaderboard is still on the top of the game standing. So it's still a long journey for the team, and it's only 1 map remaining. So Heavy needs to be consistent at this point. They need to take that Solara with a decent amount of points, if not a booyah, to be able to take that number 1 spot by the end of the day. But again, we're still in knockout stage. Number 1 would be a great prestige, a great trophy to take in the beginning of knockout stage. But everyone is just targeting to survive up until the 12th spot by the end of knockout stage to get in the grand final. So not so much of pressure for those on top.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, towards the bottom, you've got Red Hawk still struggling. PE Sports not doing too well this time around. Falcons put it on WAG, crashing out. Movistar R7 at least getting 10 points. But Heavy, did they get to the number 1 spot, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? They do! With a 1-point lead over E1 Sports. Can you believe it? Not just the fact that Heavy is on the number 1 spot, but it is representing Vietnam, baby. And they are the ones we are definitely looking out for in this season. E1 Sports right behind them. All Gamers Global will be pushed down to the 3rd spot. Fluxo Team Solid right there. But we have to acknowledge the West is still dominating the top 5 spots.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in the West, still in there, in the lead. E1 Sports, Fluxo would need to just move a little bit, move their hips a little bit, and they would be on the top 3. Now, Heavy though, I mean, great move from them. Because coming from the 6th spot, getting that booyah, decent amount, and it's not even the highest game that we've seen from this day, but they still managed to put that in. Now, they're playing with the meta right now. They have Nero in play, and there's so many instances wherein that could have been this, and that is being used by Team Heavy. Imagine teams in the corner, hiding out away from you. You pull out that, you pull out a skill from Nero, and everyone will receive damage, even couldn't pull up any glue wall, and it's just a shooting gallery for Heavy.
Yeah, and even if Heavy was on the bridge, getting the drop down to the bottom would have still been a very safe play for Heavy because of Mufasa's chrono, right? And this is the kind of lineup you definitely want to have on your side, the kind of backup in a sticky situation.
Not quite sure
It's not just about the aggression.
Or have I lost
But
AJ
they most
at this
definitely-
point? But, well, continue on. Team Heavy grabbing that booyah, taking that number one spot is just phenomenal for the team. Now, I want to see more of what the team can do, but Heavy right now, especially with Alan, is part of the mix, would be deadly. Though Cabby, Don't Cry, and Mufasa would bring in so much more into this engagement. Now, I love seeing more of what Heavy can do on how well can they maintain this, because we've seen so much of curse coming in from Vietnam, and if they stop or like prevent that curse from happening, especially to Lara, they can still maintain that number one spot by the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Alan, 6 eliminations, 3,267 on the damage. Man was just going all out on the limb there to grab those, points for the squad. And you can see that through the knockout and the assist as well.
That Alan would be at MVP, 6 eliminations, 6 knockdown, 3,000 on damage. I want to see what weapon he has brought in. AC-80 is in play. Not only that, we have the Coda on him, plus a Maro and a Luna. And not everyone has been using that Luna into the game. It's most of the time, Luna has been used in Clash Squad, but this is where that would be very useful. If you need a little bit of, increase for you, then there you will be able to bring yourself back up. But yeah, hopefully this continues on for Alan and the rest of Heavy, AJ.
Yeah, no doubt at all, man. And one of the players who actually brings the Luna into play as well. It's quite a rare situation to see Luna being rocked out there, but we do understand why as well in a situation like this. And obviously, playing the favorite on the Coda, this is absolutely standard out of Alan. And this is exactly what we need to continuously see out of this squad if they want to dominate on behalf of Vietnam. Heavy is definitely one of those squads that the other teams are assuming will be the scary ones, even though Vietnam as a whole is a underdog in the competition, Neptune. But of course, as the teams kind of navigated through the circle analysis, you can see the number of early engagements in that first circle and down towards the very end when it was E1 up against Heavy managing to run away with the booyah. But E1 Sports still keeping up the pressure. They are now just 1 point behind Team Heavy. And this is the closest that we have seen the leaderboard on a particular day. It's unbelievable. Just between the first to the fourth spot, there is a difference of 5 points. How close is that? Anybody would be able to grab it for themselves between Fluxo, AG Global, E1 Sports, as well as Heavy. And I do count them out. I do count them in, but you also have teams like Team Solid and R7 who could still jump into the number one spot, Neptune, if they get a massive one. But of course, it is a interesting situation here for the teams down at the bottom. PE Sports WAG, I can understand the struggle that PE and WAG has had when it comes to the question of consistency has always been there, even in the Southeast Asian lobby. But to have Buriram join them at the bottom, this is a shocker. I did not expect it. I expected the fight for Buriram to be a tough one. I expected them to be challenged. I did not expect Buriram to be in the bottom 4 by the end of game number 5. Now, I don't know how long is it going to take for them to really jump back in here and conquer the day, but they need to dig deep and find out somehow, or else it's just going to be warning bells for all of the Buriram fans out there. But this is that battle which was just so delightful to watch, and this is that mistake as they went back up to the bridge to catch Butchizin. That was the point where they ended the run for them. They could have recovered maybe with a team effort to get off of that bridge, but Vitin made that approach towards the stairs first. got knocked down, and a great follow-up from the players as well of Heavy throwing all of those glue wall melters, making sure that if anybody hops down to pull the save onto him, they are going to get sprayed down as well. And that was what stopped the players of E1 Sports, saving their buddy Witten. And at the end of it, Heavy securing a great booyah to claim that number 1 spot for themselves and effectively pulling the East to the front as opposed to the West, who initially started the day with a double booyah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you have hit that like already on the broadcast wherever you're watching online, whichever platform you are watching on, and share the broadcast out as well, because this is the kind of free fire action nobody should miss. I think both the East and the West have been having a great day out there. Of course, some teams might be struggling, but even then, it's a learning process. There's a total of 24 games that all of the teams have to play, and that means you've got 24 chances. For the teams that faltered today, for the teams that are unfortunately at the bottom today, making that recovery is not a thing of impossibility. And once again, East managing to pull it back, in fact, rip it back away from the West when it comes to the total booyah counts. Fluxo, Team Solid, definitely looking to climb up again alongside E1 Sports. And who would have thought that E1 Sports from Brazil, without a booyah, would still be doing better than Fluxo as well as Team Solid. For the time being, no booyah, no pro. But of course, they have to kind of keep things a little bit realistic as well. If E1 Sports cannot secure these booyahs, and if we get to the grand finals on that champion rush condition being activated, I think it's going to be a huge problem, Neptune.
Yeah, let's see now. I mean, there's a lot of things that they need to consider right now, and otherwise now the problem would be happening. But a little bit of player code right now coming from Du on All Gamers' global chances this year. He is 100% confident that they will qualify for grand finals, and if they don't, he will end his career. There's a lot of risk right now on this statement coming from Du.
Oh yeah, I mean, and Du, I'm so glad to see Du back in the game. I'm so glad to see AG Global back in, and it's the perfect time. Imagine finding the recovery in terms of how you can find the synergy out there on the battlefield and have things go your way just before the global finals, and then you go on to become the world champion. I mean, it's a Cinderella story that I think Du and squad definitely deserves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're hopefully they can push through in achieving what they want to get right now. Again, it's just qualifying to grand finals, so just reaching the top 12. And I just don't want to see Du out of the picture just yet, because there's a lot of promise from AG Global. They haven't even achieved a champion just yet, not only in the global scene, but also in local region, in Southeast Asia. So hopefully this is a time that they have, because the showing that they have right now from Southeast Asia up until this moment, it's still very good that they will be able to make it to grand finals.
Yeah, and let's not forget, right, Du was also the MVP of the global finals in 2023, where he played with EXPS. It wasn't the best run of all for Du, but at least he was very aggressive there, and he was honored for his capability as a sniper. That's where we all fell in love with him and his long-range capabilities, but he's kind of been on a downward dip right after that. The recovery from Du, I have to say, has been phenomenal. All thanks to the fact that they removed the responsibility of leading the squad in-game, giving it over to Barros. And I have to say, Barros has been doing a great job overall. He's done the team justice. But can they do justice once again on this map that has been pretty mean to quite a number of squads out there since the introduction?
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, yes, it is mean, but some teams are taking advantage of how new it is. Well, it's fairly new. A lot of teams have already been familiar of this, but because of the dynamics of Solara, there's a lot of teams that's being thrown off, especially with the movement and slide rails, and then some of the teams just taking advantage of some of the position and drop spot in this area. Delta Isle is one of the drop spot that is a favorite, not only in rank but also in the pro scene because of the number of loops that you can get, as well as the opening that you have in either in the middle or on the northern part of this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like it's a very decent drop taken here by all the squads on Solara, except for Heavy and Falcons. And if Heavy can do something phenomenal here by removing Falcons from the equation, it will be nice. But if the curse of the Booyah hits Heavy, it's going to be very unfortunate because they just managed to climb up to the number 1 spot, just managed to get a great Booyah for themselves, the first one that they claimed in the day.
Hell, let's see Cappy
to ruin that.
Gabi right now, good position to take, good hiding spot as well, and don't cry on a flank. But hopefully, how they put themselves a little bit too thin against Team Falcons would not be downfall, because as you can see, Team Falcons is regrouping, stacking themselves against each other, and that's what they can use to throw off Heavy right now in this game.
Yeah, nicely done. Kororo still has the medkit though to work off of this, to be back to full health in a little bit. Don't Cry taking great advantage point with the P90 up on top. With the Vector though, Alan is on standby. It's a standoff for sure. Pina caught out and Don't Cry. Fishes one fish out. And the fish's name is Pina. Unfortunate. Your clutch god on the side of Falcons taken out of the equation. Now Heavy needs to be really careful on this rotation. Don't Cry with the P90. Great rate of fire. Damage is decent in the early parts, in the early phases of this game. Kabi meets one. And Kororo survives it with the Winchester. Turns it around by shutting down Kabi.
Good position being taken by Kororo and great weapon to spare. Double shot coming from the Winchester. Really can take that headshot quickly, and Kabi couldn't survive. Woodpecker coming from on fire, and Team Falcons is just putting a number on Team Heavy. One managed to get away. Mufasa will try to follow, but Don't Cry. Will he survive? He does, and 3 of Team Heavy will be able to move away. The only question is, would be anyone in front of them taken down?
Nani on fire out in the open. Yes, Heavy is scrambled all around. Limit does manage to put Alan down onto the ground. Mufasa had the time turner on him, all thanks to the chrono. So he survives a little bit longer. But Don't Cry though is going to cry. And they're all going to hope and pray Mufasa manages to save the squad. Final survivor looking for a vending machine. I don't know how many coins he's got in his pockets, but On Fire is trying to make sure he's gonna get snuffed out before he buys his buddies back.
Let's see though, but on the other hand, it is Red Hawks right now seeing red because of the damage that they are receiving coming from Movistar R7, but that's not the end of the story. GLW would be heading in the same spot as Red Hawks are.
Oh my.
And it seems like trouble is just following the Bangladeshi team, and Katushan Blade needs to move away, but Mufasa and the rest of the teams are already in here, and Mufasa might be taken down. This might be it. Heavy out of the picture, and the curse continues for the Vietnamese team.
The curse of the Booyah strikes again. And Heavy will not be able to maintain that number 1 spot, but valiant effort either way. A great play, a great performance by the Vietnamese squad. Heavy to first of all save the East from a total annihilation out of the West through those Booyahs. And at the very least, give them a 50-50 by the end of the day, because this is the final game. Even if the West pulls one back, we are all equal. But I have to say, there's more teams from the West in the top 6 as opposed to the East, which is a big concern.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, only AG and Heavy are taking the top 6 spot for the East. But let's see now if this is something that could change. But unfortunately, Heavy is already out of the picture. Rip right now will be ripped apart by Games King, and the follow through will not happen. But it seems like GOW can still survive. 2 elimination already, plus a revive coming from the rest of the squad. But Hans will be taken out. R7 will take their 5th.
Yeah, the revenge is pretty instantaneous here. And Movistar R7 looking for a recovery play, looking for the number 1 spot. It's going to be fairly impossible, I would say, for Movistar R7 to reach up to the number one spot, unless, of course, they get a massive booyah through this game. They were on 57 points before we started this matchup, and remember, Heavy had 70. So even to catch up with that itself is going to be a big problem, but to collect more points as opposed to the rest of the squads is going to be a greater challenge. Game's king, though. I think that we don't even need to do the math by the end of this game because Falcons are looking to snuff them out right here, right now.
Only 2 remaining for Rainbow 7. And, well, good position by Liminex 7 just to make sure that no one else, even those from Revive, can survive. And 8 elimination already being taken by Team Falcons, but they are tanking the blue right now. For E1 Sports, Vit9 will be taken out, or Vit XP rather, will be taken out. Vit9 will be on the other side. AG Global, who spotted them, it was Stu who spotted them first, who is out in the open and 2 PSK in hand, dealing with them, taking 3 elimination, 2 of which coming from the sniper.
Yeah, Monkey See, Monkey Do, and this time he is not taking any bit of instructions from anybody else. He is leading them with the action. And AG Global definitely in a punching position for the number one spot, having 67 points on them. We just need 3 points to overtake Heavy on that number one spot, and that's exactly what they've had through the elimination so far. But they still have to stay alive and kicking all the way to the final circle, if at all possible. Rip away a booyah for themselves as well, the first one of the day, if they do manage to do that, because E1, Fluxo, Team Solid are way too close to the number one spot as well, and obviously the Brazilians want it for themselves.
Oh yeah, I mean they want to show up right now. Show up that Brazil would be number one beginning knockout stage. But let's see though. Team Fluxo, 0 elimination, staying on the edge of the zone. The usual tactic from Fluxo. So I love this approach. Not too aggressive, but we know that they can bring in the aggression if needed. They just don't need to rush this. But speaking of rush, E1 Sports rushing into Red Hawks, caught off guard and forced to fly away. Hit list is on hacks right now from R7, but Red Hawks is moving in onto E1, and quite surprisingly, I mean, the aggression is still not being lost onto Red Hawks. Not quite sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because despite of the failure, they're still using the same gameplay, the same energy from game number 1.
Don't you dare doubt my favorite team, Neptune. Don't you dare. All right.
I'm not doubting. I'm just putting in a question out there for them to answer.
I like the aggression, but please be careful, Red Hawks, all right? FGL shot, which is in, wanting to find the connection onto WAG. But a great time turner as they get struck by the flame zone. Out they go, jump pad used, X-Ball, the final one to get a heck out of there. Drop down as AG Global spots out Fluxo from afar. And it looks like the trouble is not over, although the flame zone moves away.
The flame zone has dealt a lot of damage onto WAG. It's a good thing that they did manage to jump out of that area. Now, PE Sports right now, they have been passive all throughout, despite of having someone next to them. And this is not the first time that it happened. But in most instances than not, the moment the team pushes against them, that's where they fall. But as we look at elimination leader, it's Team Falcons, as well as overall elimination leader per player is Saifa from AG Global. I mean, the rusher, the frontliner of that team, the game changer of the entire squad is still leading the fray.
So the battle between the East and the West, as far as eliminations are concerned, is currently being won by the East, at least from the count of the players themselves. But we'll have to wait and see all the way down to the very end. Falcons picking up 10 points already is very impressive, I have to say. They're definitely gunning for the number one spot. If they do, of course, I'll smile a little bit because that was my prediction.
Both of ours?
Yeah, exactly. Both of ours. As long as they don't pull a Buriram on me, I have no idea what has happened to Buriram today. They are just not looking the best version of themselves at this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, the target is top 12. If they can probably not get the number one spot, the top spot at this game. Hopefully, get knowledge or wisdom out of the gameplay that they've done so far. Like more information that is being provided, not only in the usual scene that we have. Remember the game analysis, the circle analysis that we have. That's something that everyone needs to watch, needs to review for the following days, and hopefully, those on Group A. Has their eyes peeled not only in these games but also on those segments in between.
Absolutely, and 10 minutes in, 10 teams still alive, but every single squad is full. I'm not full. I'm actually a little hungry at this point of time.
Bro, we're in the past right now. Don't think hunger.
sorry. So if you guys didn't know, Neptune has been fasting for 2 days, which is quite a miracle for this uncle. So I just finished my fast for 2 days the other day. I wanted to go for 3 days, but someone tempted me with food. That bit unfortunate. And as I speak of being tempted, Falcons are tempted by Movistar R7, and they do not think twice. They have a feast. They pull 1 point off first, but they want to make sure they finish this all-you-can-eat buffet off of Movistar R7 Games King. Circling down from the bottom, spotting out Karoro, but the timing is perfect as Della gets caught out. Time turner just not working out. Hacks now, running straight towards limit R7, and he will pay for that in a big way. R7 just unable to snuff out limit, changing their mind at the very last moment. Instead of taking a 2v1, they both get capped, and Movistar left with only one final survivor.
Let's see though if Movistar can go for that recovery. For Red Hawks right now, they need to deal with Team Falcons. Going into the other side of the map, we have Rim United going against AG Global, and Motion right now missing that shot. The timing was off, but the rest of the teams are ready for the push. Now, let's see if they will be able to end this in 10 seconds or less. There goes Wasana for the rush, but unfortunately, he receives the damage and needs to back away.
And Buriram, no eliminations at all. And AG Global wants to say, maybe you want some offer first, maybe. Wasana says, I'll gladly take it. Saifa M590 down onto the ground, but the pickup is not going to be impossible. Team SR there for the save. And runs straight in. Manages to find Jonah, gets the connection, deal with the follow-up. And the knockdown is going to get as well. And Fluxo finds Buriram. My goodness me. They get eliminated way too early, and AG Global will be smiling year to year. Now they can worry less about one squad challenging them for the number one spot. But on the rotation, though, AG Global right beside Fluxo. This is dangerous.
Yeah, definitely dangerous, and they sense WAG near them, thus forcing one player to move away. It's Paros, as well as a takedown onto another from Fluxo. Now, one has been left behind, and hopefully he keeps very silent. Though we are in the latter part of the circle already, where it would hurt the HP. But if they can squeeze away a recovery, a revive, then AG Global can still be in it. But unfortunately, Team SR will be taken down with AC80 coming from Nolan, and WAG right now is on their way to deal with Paros, but Fluxo is also in the same area, so that would be another battle of East versus West just in Archway.
Fluxo now finding some connections, all thanks to WAG. And Fluxo outside of the circle, so this is going to be pressure time. Finding the rotation around. RHK finally taken out in the 8th spot, although they survive up to the 14th minute mark. Just have too many players in here, so even the placement points aren't going to be too great for Team Red Hawk. But Fluxo right up against WAG, up close and personal, but X-Bob, phenomenal glue wall erected.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, glue wall still up, plus the glue UAV that fortifies those glue wall, and he's knocked down just yet. Unfortunately, T-Koi is already down, and WAG is left with only 2 players now. Fluxo is in the lead, and none of them is going down, and they might be able to take advantage of this area as well as the position on the high ground.
Fluxo's definitely looking for the number 1 spot, and it is most definitely reachable. The East looking to save themselves. They need to get this Booyah to make sure as a whole the East wins this battle of Booyahs up against the West.
Oh, yeah.
But clearly the West has got just enough numbers and power. Oh, what a riptide rhythm! And The glue ball UAV coming out just in time just to give them a few seconds. And PE Sports from the East says, not for you, Fluxo. Out you go.
Yeah, GOW dealing with the final blow with help of PE Sports. Now, there's another team coming from the West that could take advantage. It seems solid, but they are dealing with Kiroro right now. But Kiroro can pull off a clutch, but unfortunately, Guaxa up close and personal with an AWM will take him down. 3 teams remaining. It is 2 from the East, 1 from the West. Team Solid can be that solid team if they can deal with PE Sports first before going in against the Wolves.
Oh, this is insane, man. I think Fluxo might have just been able to successfully secure that number 1 spot for themselves because Team Solid was nowhere close to the number 1 spot, and neither is PE or GOW. This is just a battle of the underdogs now for the points, and obviously Team Solid wants the most out of this, and they run outside of the circle to take the jump pad, but gets met by a couple of grenades, and Deanne finding the connection with the AC-80. Great play by GOW to snuff out Team Solid.
Oh, full squad, 9 elimination, and wiping out Team Solid. Now it's Battle of Vietnam right here. A knockdown has been done by Nero with that AC-80 onto Rip. GOW hands in trouble. Pulls out that Steffi. No glue wall to say or to be used on that glue held UAV, but they still have 3 strong players on their mids, but unfortunately they have an overwatch for PE Sports that they need to watch out for.
Absolutely, man. PE Sports has got the numbers here. It's all about the maneuvering. Demon down on the ground, and the flank is perfect from Nolan. Finding Hans as well. PE capping the players of GOW, and in the battle of the Civil War, PE Sports secures their first booyah of the day, which is going to launch them up towards the mid part of the overall leaderboard. But as for the question of the battle between East and West, if it is concerning the booyahs, PE Sports just put the final nail on the coffin. East wins it out, but we still have to look at the overall leaderboard in a little bit to see how many teams do the West still keep in the top 6.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, before that Solara map started, all of the 4 teams from the West is on that board, on the top 6, and that just showed the quality of those teams. Despite of the less quantity, they still bring in the numbers. It might not be that consistent on being number 1, but they just know how to pick themselves up. But let's not take it away from PE Sports. LBT, Lauho, Nolan, Nero, as well as Jonah for that booyah in that final game in day number 1.
Yeah, this is such a solid day, I have to say. I mean, not talking about Team Solid, but it's such a great day because we got to see so many of these teams go out there, play some really great games of Free Fire, and every single map has had a unique booyah winner. And that is exactly why in the start of this global finals, on this number 1 day of the knockout stage itself, you've got so many of these teams stacked just beside each other on the overall leaderboard. I mean, they just need to reach their arm out and be able to touch the other squad, right? I mean, that's how close they are to each other because... And this is going to be a problem, all right? Champion rush condition activated for the grand finals. If it's going to be this close on that final day, Neptune, I'm going to have a headache, my friend.
Well, either a headache or, I don't know, a happy spree.
It's either a headache or a heartache, okay? One of the two is going to ache.
but there's not more of a heartache that would be happening, not just for the casters. It's more of those in the comment section. That would be hard. That's difficult to get away from. Stomach ache. Imagine trying to hold that in while you're casting. The emotions, rather. I'm not.
I'm talking about the players, my friend. that's the bad thing, all right? I am Penny just before the broadcast. Might just mess you up if you're not used to it, but oh, goodness me. If there's anything I miss about Indonesia, it's the chili, man. It's the spice. But of course, we have got a lot to expect out of the competition. This has just been day 1 of the knockout stage. Neptune, we've got 5 more days to go. In total, these teams will play 4 out of the 6 knockout stage. They will play 24 games in total. And as far as A and C are concerned, the first 6 have now come to a perfect conclusion. Let's take a look at the game standings and see how much did teams like Fluxo and all manage to walk away with this matchup. Obviously, PE Sports 21 points right at the top, but Falcons with 21. My God, what a massive game for them.
Yeah, I mean, even before they head into Windmill, they had a lot of elimination already. They were just farming points. The rotation was just favoring them, wherein they can catch a lot of players off guard. Thus, even without getting into the very top, the top 3 to be exact, they will still take that second spot. But let's see, though, on what would be the result of the standings. Oh! What? AG Global still in there.
How? How is this possible? No booyah, no problem, at least for the knockout stage. AG Global saving the face of the whole of the East by 1 point, making sure Fluxo does not sneak that away from them. Unbelievable. And GOW giving the East another boost by pushing Team Solid down to the 7th spot. I cannot believe we're looking at this. Movistar R7 pushed down to the 9th spot as well. Look at how close. Look at how close these points are, man. This is a crazy start to the global finals.
Well, it won't bother some of the teams jumping in onto the next day. But before we proceed anywhere else, let's take a look at team stats from PE Sports. It's quite different from what we often see in terms of skills. We have A124, we have Steffi, we have that Oscar as well as Kyler. But what is best for this team is how they just survive, the survivability factor that they have. Again, a double Olivia, Tiva on Nolan, and not only that, they have a double Susie. Just make sure that if in case needed, they can bring their teammate back.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And I really like this. The combination of Olivia and Tiva is pretty much a instant pickup. You've got the Steffi on there as well. So I'm very sure Nolan, if possible, is going to be out in the hiding away from a lot of these engagements. But instead of that, even though he's the support player, even though he's tasked to get those those saves, he's getting the eliminations instead. But the damage, 3 out of the 4 players below 1k damage. This was the most concise booyah we've seen today.
Yeah, I mean, they're not too aggressive. In most instances that we see PE Sports, they're just hiding out of the compound. And the only difference this time around is they are aware of their surroundings compared to what we've seen earlier. Someone can sneak in and just clean the house. Not this time. PE Sports managed to defend themselves and they stepped out in the perfect timing to take that booyah. So I love the evolution coming from PE Sports. Hopefully it continues, and hopefully the curse is broken after the day. This is the last game, and if the curse continues for tomorrow, they will be playing for tomorrow, that would be definitely not so good in terms of luck. But for MVP, it would be Nero. Not the skill, not the character, but the player from PE Sports.
It'll be sweeter if Nero played Nero, but it's just not the way. Man gets the MVP, 1,350 on the damage, 4 assists in total, rocking the A124, disabling opponents before he reaches them, tossing in those nades as well with the assistance of Alvaro and Beaston, marking up players, all thanks to that AC80 and the Moko combination, getting those extra coins after eliminating those marked players as well. Nero has the perfect combo, but PE Sports overall is just not the most aggressive team out there. But as we take a look at the circle analysis, this was a pretty dragged out game, but at the beginning we saw massive eliminations coming on through.
Yeah, I'm just watching out of PE Sports right now. From TV Tower, they head to Funfair, use that slide rail, get into Archway, and then just stick to the center of the circle. And looking at that, Team Solid has spent so many time just on the next compound, on the second compound next to PE Sports. And if they were not pushed away into the next phase or on the shift of the circle, they could have taken PE Sports right there. The patience, though, from PE Sports, from the Vietnamese scene is just pristine, and they ended up on the final two going against GOW.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's take a look at the highlights here as well to see if or not we can catch some of that action you just talked about in our updates here as well. We're kind of looking at some of the key moments, and Falcons up against the R7 squad early on just did not fare well for the LATAM team, and obviously as Fluxo kind of circled on around towards the final ending bits of this matchup, it didn't fare them well as they got caught out on that rotation. A couple of time turners could have made the biggest of difference, but you know, as luck would have it, they got eliminated. They were looking for the number one spot, and all they needed was 2 more eliminations to do that.
Yeah, well, definitely a few more could have helped them. But
yeah,
going back, I mean, it's the end of the day right now. The final match is over. You did mention that it's a battle of the East and West. And by the end of that, so Lara, it could have thrown off the scale.
Yeah.
But one thing that surprises me is it has pushed Team Solid and R7 down below the top 6. And we're back on the even plane.
You say even, but I say the East has won the battle, at least for day one, when it's concerning East versus West. If we look at the number of booyahs, the East has won it. If you look at the number of teams in the upper half of the overall leaderboard, in the top 6, 4 out of the